Welcome to the Ref Room, hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
With your hosts, Smokin, Silz, and Brad Baumruck.
Live.
The Ref Room starts right now.
And now your host.
All right, what's up, everybody? I am Smokin, Silz. We are coming to you live from Chicago along with my man, Brad Baumruck. It is the Ref Room. Hope you got your peanut butter and jelly sandwich ready to go. And actually, I have a story to tell about that because, first of all, Brad and I don't eat peanut butter and jelly, just so you guys all know. And I was in the Ref Room, not this Ref Room, a Ref Room the other day. And one of my partners whips out this little package from Smucker's. And it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like a cookie type thing. It looks like a Pop-Tart almost. Yeah.
The crustless thing.
And he hands it over to me. He goes, "This is for you." And I'm like, I couldn't help but laugh because, you know, neither one of us eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So
that's amusing. You ever?
So I said, that needs to be Baumruck's peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know, we need to relabel and package that thing. So. Well, anyway, hope everybody's doing well. It's hockey week. I mean, we've kind of finished up the main season. We got NHL playoffs going on we're going to talk about today. A lot of things happening. We had a 9-minute penalty, which is very rare in a playoff game, let alone a 9-minute penalty anytime when it comes to game management. So we're going to talk about that today. We are going to talk about the golf outing. We got a golf outing coming up. We also want to cover a lot of safety issues on the ice. So those are some of the topics we're going to cover today. And I guess we're going to jump right into it. Let's look at the golf, though, if you don't mind, because this is the Mark Gore Memorial Golf Outing. And it's $55 per golfer. It's going to include your golf, your cart, as well as some gifts. And I saw one of the gifts today that you will be getting if you're a golfer, and it's very cool. I was like, wow, that is really neat. So it's very exciting. If you want to golf with us, and I hope you will join us, we're doing a scramble. And, you know, so you can make up your own foursome. We'll pair you up. You can come as a single. You can come as a twosome. You can come as a threesome or foursome. We don't care. We'll find a spot for you on the course. We'll do a scramble. We'll probably have some adult beverages afterwards. Probably, of course, you know, we're going to have adult beverages afterwards. But it'll be a lot of fun. And it's on Friday, July 23rd. So in order to get registered for this, I can't really put the link up that you can click on here, but I guess Brad could put a link up to register, right?
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah, so we'll put a link in the description down here. And, you know, from there, we could fill you in a little bit more. But we do need to start collecting the money for this. So if you are interested in participating, contact refroombrad@gmail.com.
Okay, well,
send him an email, and he can email you the link, but we'll put the link down in the description if you are interested in signing up for this, because we are limited on space, but we have to have 60 guys for this. So this is not just going to be a couple of us getting together for golf. This is like a full day. It's a lot of fun. Last year we did this. We had a blast. So I definitely recommend you guys come join us. The weather's been great. I know I just got my golf club, my driver re-gripped. And are you ready for this? I called the store I've been going into for years in my area. And he's like, well, we're like 6 weeks out for re-gripping. I'm like, 6 weeks out? Yeah, we're taking appointments for 6 weeks from now. I needed one grip on the club. It took a week. He did it for me. It takes 5 minutes to put a grip on the club. It was over $15, and it took him a week. So everything is just like a mess. So if you need golf balls, I'd say order them now. If you need your golf clubs re-gripped, get them done now so that you can join us on July 23rd, because it's going to be a great day. All right. So with that being said, anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, so the reasoning that we're going to have people contact me is because we're going to be doing the payment method through a private account that's going to come through me, and then it's going to get deposited, and then we're going to pre-write the check. The golf course prefers with that size of group that they get it beforehand. So just so you know, we're not trying to rip anybody off or anything. It's that's the way we're going to do it. But I'm going to throw the link up so that people can register on the Google Doc.
Okay.
And then just get a hold of me at Ref Room Brad.
Okay, and I wanted to throw on, I've got this is my golf shirt, everybody. It's a Pittsburgh Penguin shirt, and since they're playing golf, I thought I'd wear that since we're supporting a golf outing. Okay. All right. Throw the link up, and we are good to go.
Yep.
Eric says, the one and only Brett Staley. Yes, Brett was the one that brought those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the ref room the other day. Our guy, absolutely. I don't know. He might be on the other end. He usually watches the show. A lot of you guys always quiet, but watching the show. We appreciate all the support. Appreciate your being here.
Well,
all right, so
I can tell you, Scott, there's going to be quite a few people that aren't going to be watching that normally are. So everybody knows USA Hockey Congress started this morning.
Right.
So they're doing it via Zoom. They have a very, very packed agenda. But the interesting part is I already got some fill-in by some people, and there's 160 rule changes that they are going to be taking a look at, and they are going to go through the next 2 days and get those down to what they will be voting on Saturday. So the vote, everybody has an opinion in the vote. So the coaches associations, all the affiliates, USA Hockey members, players groups, the referees, we have a little bit of a say, but we're also not the majority. The majority is the players, coaches. So, even though we support the rules, we don't exactly always change them. So right. whenever somebody doesn't like a rule, their immediate thing is to go online and start bashing, like somebody that they know. Well, I'm going to tell you this, like if you happen to know a name or whatever, they were there, they gave their input, and as a group, remember it's a group.
Right. The community votes on it. It's a community vote.
Votes on it.
Yeah.
And in the past, they've said, we don't like this, and they've taken it away. And other things they've kept in there that a lot of people don't like. So just remember, when this happens, it's done as a group. Everybody has a say. So it's not just the referees, it's not just the coaches, it's not just the presidents, it's not just USA Hockey. It's done as a big vote.
Right.
So
there are actually quite a few rules that are very interesting that are up for a vote this time around. And since they're there, maybe we should give them an opinion on some of the rules that we think, how they should change or shouldn't change.
Well, we could talk about it afterwards because, like I said, they're going to take these 160 rules, and over the next 2 days, that list is going to get much smaller.
All right. Well, let's put a couple up within the show here real fast. We'll just kind of,
I don't have that list of what it got down to.
But I know a couple of them that were up for the vote, right?
So that list possibly changed.
So do we know if the, stick above the shoulder going all the way down to the other zone is still on the list?
I don't, honestly, I don't know, Scott.
Okay, because this is as much. Okay.
This is as much briefing as I've got.
You see, I want to go there. I want to go there.
The bad part is if it would have started yesterday, there would already be a whole day in. So somebody would already probably have a list. And the person I talked to, they didn't have much else other than it started. Okay. And it's underway. So it's a very busy week for a lot of people. There's a lot of great
we will be able to cover some of this stuff next week on the show, and we are going to have a special time next week. Normally we do this every week at noon. Next week we are going to be on at 6 p.m. Central Time. 6 p.m. Central Time next week. We're going to do an evening edition because we've got some games that day. So, join us next week, 6 p.m., all the usual places. We will send the reminders out. We'll notify you guys on Facebook and on YouTube, and it'll be 6 p.m. next week. So with that being said, let's continue. Let's talk a little bit about the NHL because, we've been talking about, where are they going to have the Stanley Cup Finals? What's going on? So my understanding the other day, I was at one of the rinks, and I asked somebody about this, and they said they have now announced that they are going to travel back and forth across the border. So apparently,
they waived the border rules. That happened a couple days ago. I saw the little announcement. So, look at Montreal right now, though. I mean, what is it, 437 minutes or something? They haven't been down in a game. I mean, they've also been
playing Canadian teams. They haven't seen a good team yet. What good team have they seen? This is like playing against, House League. They're playing House League NHL.
No,
they're going to see the real teams because they're going to get the winner of the Avalanche and Vegas. They're going to see a real team at that point.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting.
Yeah, and
interesting test.
I have not been watching the series. I've been busy. I hate to admit it, but I hear that is a great series going on, and some really good hockey. So I know they had a 9-minute penalty the other night in that game. Why don't we show that, you guys? Let's check that out together. Now, Brad has not seen it. I just saw it today myself for the first time. Brad has not seen it yet. So as a referee, I want to get your opinion on what you would have called and how you would have handled this situation. How's that sound?
Bad part is, Scott, the NHL, I'm just shocked that somebody had a 9-minute penalty.
Yeah, from a game management standpoint, 9 minutes? Really? How many of you guys have racked up a 9-minute penalty on somebody? That's pretty serious. Okay.
I've had 2 majors. That's 10 minutes.
All right, let's try this. See how this works for us.
Puck sent back out for Pietrangelo, a shot, and that's gloved through traffic by Grubauer. And now some extracurricular activity.
Yeah, he grabbed Graves, but then Reeves also give a shot to the back of the head to Grubauer, the goaltender, right before this all started. Reeves give a quick shot to the back of the head with the netminder, and then Reeves realized it was Graves, and again, Graves was the guy that hit Janmark. And now you got Saad and Pietrangelo. I mean, this is going to start getting to the point where the referees got to start giving 10-minute misconducts to get control of this.
Ryan Graves remains down on the ice. Just in front of the crease.
And he hasn't moved much there.
Reeves exits. Under 12 to play, third period in Denver. 6-1 Colorado.
Watch in front of the net here. Ryan Reeves, 75 white. Watch what he does with, I thought it was a glove, but it was with his stick. Cross-checked Grubauer in the back of the head, and then he realized he's got Graves. And again, Graves and Janmark a little bit earlier, and Graves certainly remembers that, and then all heck breaks loose. Watch Grubauer here after he takes a cross-check in the back of the head, and there he takes a chop right in the legs of Reeves. And it just became a melee after that. A glove, a knee, a leg, and then Graves got some medical attention right in front of the blue paint.
You see right there, I mean, the leg of Reeves is on.
And there's a glove there too with grabbing. You can see right there.
Then the helmet came off.
Yeah, right. That's obviously it's Reeves. So lots going on in that pile. Got referees pointing, blowing whistles, everything.
9 minutes up on the board for Ryan Reeves. 9 minutes and penalties. And you
know what? Look at, if I'm Colorado after this, I throw out my big boys here and I try to put 4 or 5 on the board.
All right.
Well,
hang on. Let me.
I was going to say you're going to have to kill that.
Yeah, let me bring this down. There we go. I'll tell you, I was a goalie growing up, and we used to win a lot of championships. The worst thing after a championship was being in the bottom of that pile when everybody got on top of you. Honestly, never liked that.
I can imagine.
I don't think I would have wanted to be at the bottom of that pile with the knees on the back of my neck. I mean, that is just not a good feeling.
Well, the first thing in there, Scott, is Reeves makes a heck of an effort to hide where he strikes him the goalkeeper in the head there.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're not paying attention there because you got the other two that are kind of, off to the side, and he comes across, he takes an excellent advantage of a unique situation.
I mean, he's in tight and he's like this. I mean, it's quick and fast, no doubt. That would be a tough one to actually see. I'm kind of curious. I mean, I didn't get to see. Did they have to go back to the replay to really look at this? Because I didn't really see the riot pads out. I don't think they really do that in the NHL. They probably just go back to the cameras and look at everything, would be my guess. They will look at the replay to get it right. But, a 9-minute penalty, I mean, I've seen where we've had a penalty shot in a 5-minute major, for like a vicious slash that somebody swung at the guy on the breakaway, hit him pretty good, and he ends up with the 5-minute major and the penalty shot. Occasionally you see a 2 and a 2 where somebody just goes stupid. You're going to give them the 2, and then, maybe they get a free shot in there, a little extra shot that they shouldn't have. Maybe you go 2 and 2, maybe it's only 2. Game management, depending on what the game is, how physical it's been. But very rare that you see like a 9-minute penalty go up on the boards. Any of you guys, what's your thoughts? Put something in the comments. Let us know, what you would have handled, done in that situation. And I'm not sure.
He's got the 5 for sure for the goalie. Okay.
Yep.
That's you can't let that go.
Absolutely.
That a goaltender. Everybody's a skilled position on the ice, but a goaltender is a specialty position. And there's only a couple on the bench, and that's why, now the NHL, a smart thing, they have those emergency backup goalkeepers. You could be in, up at a rink Zamboni in the ice, and next thing you know, you're playing in an NHL game, and you get the win on top of it, too. So think about that.
Yeah.
But it's a very specialty position, so you can't allow that. Too, it's intentionally to the goalkeeper's head, which the NHL wants to cut down on concussions. They want to cut down on these injuries because the players are being compensated very, very well on the ice.
Yes,
and if I have let's say a $2 million goalie, I'm just throwing a number out there, and a year goalie, we don't want to be paying for him to be sitting on the sidelines because he's got a head injury, which he's not even involved in the play that much. He's there to stop the puck, not to be physically involved. And then you have the extra minors for the stuff afterwards. So, he gets the goalie, then he tackles the guy. I mean, he's got quite a few things going on there. And, he's an instigator with stuff like this, too. Well, so
I think
it's not that uncommon.
The referee sent a message. There's no doubt that they don't want that. They sent the message. 9 minutes tells you they're going to call something. Because I know there was a major criticism in the Boston Bruin Islander series or game with regard to the fact that Boston got 4 penalties. Islanders got 2 penalties. I don't know where they read it in the rule book in the NHL that the penalties have to be equal. But, Trottier made a point. He's like, we have been the least penalized team all year long. We've taken fewer penalties than any other team. So from that standpoint, maybe we are a cleaner team than Boston. You got guys like Marchand out there. They're not the cleanest players in town, right? They're tough.
Right.
Sure like to have them on your team, and they're skilled. And, Boston should be getting a penalty just from the suits that Pasternak wears into the arena. That should be like automatic. That's a 2 right there. I mean, I don't know if you saw that bright green suit he had on the other day. It wasn't even St. Patrick's Day, was it?
I saw.
He just showed up in a bright green suit, like light bright green.
I saw it on the NHL Network on the recaps. But what's funny about that is, like here in Chicago, we'll just put this out there for a lot of people. The White Sox play halfway to St. Patrick's Day every year, and they wear green and they serve green beer, and it's a whole St. Patrick's thing. Yep. So I could see it if it was a little later in the year, but
Boston plays over St. Patrick's Day. It's an Irish area. They celebrate it big time in Boston. So, I just think he got his dates a little confused there.
Yeah, well, he just wanted to wear green. I mean, I woke up and said, I want to wear green. So, but this is also my favorite color.
There you go. We got a comment here. It says, wondering what the thought process is for referees. identify the instigators, then identify retaliators and how their actions fit whatever NHL emphasis and standards of play are. What was the final outcome, man advantage on this play? Well, that's a great question because I honestly didn't have the answer to that because I only got the highlight and that's what I saw. So you saw what I saw as far as this went. I just heard about the 9-minute penalty. But let's talk about that a little bit in terms of, part? You know, do you get the instigator? Do you get the guy that started the whole thing? You know, I think the mindset for a lot of referees going in is you're going to get the guy that started the whole thing that caused the whole problem. So
right,
you
but
may
hang on, Scott. The point, the one thing I want to say though, is instigator is a separate rule. So you got to make sure that we're not blurring the lines between instigator or
that's
shit
fair.
starter.
That's fair.
Because that was shit starter, and that's what he did.
Yep.
And not an instigator there because that falls into a different category. You have to have a fight in there where you know, one person.
Instigator is a fighting penalty typically.
Correct. So, but just keep that in mind. It's to keep instigator rules are to keep your star player like Sidney Crosby from getting just basically attacked by Reeves off a face-off, and there's a fight that ensues because he's forced to defend himself or whatnot, so they can give him an extra 2 minutes in order to penalize him more. It's so that you don't have, the skilled players that don't want to fight or never fight get, attacked by a guy that, hey, that's what he makes his money for. He sits in the box and gets a bunch of pims.
Yeah,
so,
because it'd be really cheap to go get somebody for a few $100,000 a year that would just go take out every single one of the top stars at every game. So, we got Chicago. Okay, we're going to go get Kane first. Let's start with him. And, we'll get him into a little fight. We get him off the ice for 5 minutes. And then, next we'll go over and we'll take care of DeBrincat and we'll get him get him off the ice for 5 minutes. So now we don't have, we either don't have Kane or DeBrincat out there for 5 minutes. They're not playing together, whatever, and this is what obviously they need to eliminate from happening because it's a lot cheaper to get one of those guys at, $400,000 a year, $500,000 a year than to get a $7 million, $9 million forward, whatever they are getting paid nowadays. But,
Scott, it reminds you of the movie Slapshot. Oh no, I've just been handed the starting lineup. And he goes through it. It's just instigator after instigator after instigator that they brought in just for this one game. They haven't played the whole time. And the one is I'll never forget the one guy that's in it. He comes out, and he's flicking off the crowd, and he's like, and he never goes anywhere without his trusted attorney and friend. I mean, it's just, that's such a great movie. But
it is.
Yeah,
all the lines in that, it's classic. I know all the referees have watched it, but if you're just an ordinary hockey fan and you haven't seen that movie, I know maybe you're young and you haven't seen it yet because it's an older movie. Go watch it, man. It's awesome.
Well, a funny fact is one of my buddies grew up in a certain area on the East Coast, and he actually skated at the rink that had the big drop down.
Sweet.
When he was a kid and, growing up. And he said he started playing there, and the parents had to throw you onto the ice, because the drop was still that big.
They just locked him in there with the high boards.
I thought that was interesting because I didn't know if that had ever existed or whatnot. And he told me
we've got a couple rinks with high boards here. I mean,
we do.
It used to be saddle and cycle when I was a kid. It's changed because even when I played there, they didn't even have a Zamboni, okay? They had a dude with a bucket and a scraper that did the ice. But they had high boards there. They were pretty high. And I'm trying to think, we got a couple other rinks that have high boards. And
some of the older ones on the south side.
South side, yeah.
They have pretty tall boards. There's one that the boards are when you're on the ice are up to your shoulder blades.
Yeah.
It's up there. And I'm like, boy, these are really tall. You see, it's the only place you see high schoolers all use the door 90% of the time.
Oh, I saw a player the other day. There was a girl that was trying to get over the boards. She was almost doing a belly flop to try to get over. She didn't know to get the hips up on the board to try to get over. She was trying to go over almost stomach first. So, It was.
So, anyways, getting back to this comment, the big thing that I think every referee is looking for is who started the entire situation, especially in that there. Like, yeah, you have some tussling and rolling and stuff, but Vegas really didn't do much back. Like that situation could have been much worse.
Absolutely.
But it shows how a team can handle themselves in a situation and get a great advantage for these 9 minutes. So that's the thing that I would remember.
Well, I think Vegas was the bad boy in that one to begin with. So Vegas was the one getting the 9-minute penalty. So
my fault.
I think Colorado could have done a little bit more damage than Vegas in that situation. Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. I apologize. I did misspeak.
No problem.
There.
I do that all the time. You guys know that.
No, but yeah, that's the big thing. When you're refereeing a game, if you don't get that first penalty, that player's still going to be out there. Could you imagine if they missed that on Reeves?
Yeah.
And he came
and
out.
Who's going to take care of that problem? You're going to be faced with having to deal with that later because
it could be
you didn't get it.
Well, you could be. We're going to drop the gloves every face-off for the next 4 or 5 face-offs.
Yeah.
So it could make for a long night. So the big thing is you got to get those ones. Especially that one where he clearly takes advantage of what I call a unique or a good opportunity.
Yeah.
He
was
playing
being
his position
covered
and he comes
tightly
in
on both sides, and he may have very well. I didn't see which side of the building the lower referee, on the goal line where he was, if he was facing the players or if he was behind the players, because it'd be a little bit tougher. That's where you got to really count on your guy that's up top in that 4-man system to get that. And, when you are working a 4-man, maybe we should talk about who's responsible, for what's going on the ice. But, typically in the four official system, you've got the guy up at top that's looking at the slot area, unless that's exactly where play is. But, that would be his job. So if the play is in the corner, it's the job of the official that's up top to be looking at what's going on in the slot.
Correct. And, the low guy.
It wasn't a question. It
no,
wasn't
no,
a question.
I'm agreeing with you. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah. So,
but just make sure that, the NHL standpoint is completely different than any hockey that we're working. So, they're unique. They have a sport that's also built for entertainment values. So, when I heard about this 9 minutes, though, now that I saw the video, I kind of understand a little bit more because I said it to you, Scott. I'm like, I haven't seen it yet, and you're like, well, we'll watch it live. And I'm like, all right, I'm cool. But
I just thought that would be kind of fun because, you had not had a chance to see it. So you'd actually wouldn't have had time to think about it or prepare anything. So it just kind of felt like a better way to do it. We'll get an honest opinion out of somebody. And you're right. The guy is definitely in an area where he's pretty well covered. It's a good thing somebody was paying attention up top to that part of the ice.
That is correct, sir.
It could have been much worse than it was, no doubt. All right. And with that being said, we wanted to cover a little bit today. By the way, thanks to NBC Sports for that because, I kind of just took that off of YouTube or off the internet. So we'll give them their proper due on that.
They have great coverage.
They do. They do an awesome job. And with that, we wanted to talk a little bit about when we're on the ice, things that become dangerous situations that could affect what we are doing. And, things like a door opening on the ice during play, a door that's not opening even when play is not going on. Perhaps it's a bench door, a front bench door that's broken, somehow not opening and closing properly. Things that we can do.
Let's cover a door
on the ice.
Let's cover what happens when play is going on and a door comes open during play.
Well, we're going to stop play immediately. Zamboni door opens up. We're going to stop play. Entrance door, not necessarily like a bench door, but an entrance door. We're probably going to stop play. If somebody's getting checked into that and it opens, we're going to shut things down.
Yep, if there's play within the vicinity, you don't want a player getting railroaded through the door. Now, the one thing is, like Scott just said, though, not in the bench area. All right, the benches are meant to be open and closed throughout the
Right.
game. We're talking a door that doesn't lead to part of, the game surface. Consider the benches, penalty benches, all that. They're part of the playing. It's not totally all. Yeah, the playing surface, the game surface. All those are meant to be used throughout the game. We're talking an outer door or.
Yeah, and let's go give an example. Let's say, for example, you have some penalty boxes that don't have any way out of them other than back onto the ice. And you may not have a parent or a door person in there operating that door. So the player coming out of that penalty box either has to close the door themselves, and a lot of times they don't. And especially if it's a younger player, they probably aren't going to close that door. They're just going to come back on the ice. So as a referee or official, you need to be aware of that so that, you can either get over there quickly and close that door so that play can continue, or if nobody's over there and now all of a sudden play moves into that area, you may need to shut play down if you feel that there's a safety situation here where somebody could get bumped into that board or into that open door, because there's nothing worse than going through that. And I'll tell you, as an official, I've had it where, you go and you bump up against a bench door to find out that it wasn't closed, wasn't locked, and you end up going through it, and it is not fun. It is not fun. Somebody's going to get an earful from me. I will tell you that right now. You leave that bench door open, and you have a lot of coaches and parents that, they're there and they don't want to close the bench door. They leave it like mostly closed, but they don't want to latch it. Like they're too busy to do the job of just like unlocking and locking the door. But you do have it. And if you have that, get on their case to make sure that that door is closed, because it is dangerous. It's dangerous for the players and it's dangerous for us as officials. So, that's a big one. That's a big pet peeve for me with the doors.
It's also dangerous for the fans that might be in the vicinity. Puck can fly out. They're not expecting it. They're also not expecting equipment. I have a friend that was playing in some rad hockey and was walking past an open door. The puck went off the goal frame, came out the door, and hit him in the head.
Wow.
And they had a knot on their head that was like this, and it was just they were walking around, and it flew out an open door, and it hit them. And the door wasn't even close to the net. It's not like somebody missed.
Even when you have teams come on the ice, guys, go over. It may be their warm up, but go over and shut the door, close the doors up. So the other thing I want to bring up about doors is sometimes you have a situation where, let's say, one of the doors on the bench is not working properly. And what I mean by that is, let's say they can't unlock the door or they can't close it properly. They're having trouble closing the door. So, in that situation, let's say it's the rear door, usually back by the blue line. What I'll do is I'll make it fair for both teams. I'll take the other door out of play. I'll just go over and let the other team know the door is not working over here. So it's not fair for you to have an advantage of being able to use that back door without going over the boards like the other team is having to do. So it's just a way of kind of evening things out, making it fair. You don't want one team to have an advantage. It's not like we're going to switch benches halfway through. So you just take the door out of play. I've had that happen even at a number of men's league games. You can just tell them, hey, back door is closed for the day. You got to go over the boards. For the men's league, it's not a big deal. It's a little tougher if you've got the smaller players on the ice. If you got squirts, maybe even some peewees, they're not quite used to always going over the boards. By peewee bantam, they're pretty good at it, but squirts not so much. Mite's certainly not going to happen. So things also that you need to take into consideration when that happens. Wags is here. What's up, Wags? Always good to see him. One of our favorites.
Register for the golf outing.
Yeah, Wags. Join us for golf, okay? All you guys. Eric, join us for golf. Michael, come out for golf. Karen had put up a trainer going on the ice during play. Yeah, trainers do come out on the ice, and you also see photographers come out on the ice at tournaments where they're going off to like a side door to a different position where they came on the bench for a couple photos and now they're returning to a glass area. So again, check the doors. And if you're not checking the doors before you drop the puck to start a game, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to everybody else to not do that. You need to check the doors.
And we don't mean go by and open every door. Just swing by the door.
Give it a push.
Give it a shove.
Give it a shot
on the glass.
And see what happens.
Now, it's still that can be elusive sometimes because there's a rink that I know that is notorious. There's a door. If there's a hit by it, it opens up.
There's a door
and it
almost behind the net at the rink that I'm thinking of that doesn't work very well. This one's on the side. Oh, this one's on the side. Okay, see?
Yeah, the latch bounces up when the hit happens, so it's barely hanging on there, and it opens up. And just, if you're a ref that knows that, as there's a big hit about to happen, just be expecting it. Slowly put your whistle up. Since we're talking about doors, Scott, and dangerous situations, has anybody seen where a player's skating down the ice and all of a sudden their stick gets caught in the Zamboni door and it's sticking out?
Please, I've broken a number of sticks doing that.
All right. Well,
as a player,
I've been in the building before, and I've seen that happen. And it generally, it generally happens more in like the Bantam and above levels. Yeah. Because they're really, coming down the boards. They've got those skills where they can actually pick it up, off the boards there. The younger kids kind of come in and whack at it. They come in and scoop it up. And just so I've been in a rink and I've seen where that's happened, and the officials have not stopped play. And I want to point out this one thing that I point out to the referees that I did see. I said, all right, well, the puck is still there, right? Yeah. I go, what happens if two players come in and one guy cross-checks the other guy from behind and impales him on the stick that's now on the boards? Because it's obviously in there. It's sticking out. Now what?
Well, now I would say I have not seen it where it just stays there and they haven't been able to get it out. Normally the player that gets his stick in there tries to take it out almost immediately, and usually they get it out, and it's probably broken. They've probably broken the blade or cracked it in half.
I've seen it more than one occasion, and it's stuck in there. And, he tries to get it out, or worse is when it gets stuck in there, they don't even realize it. So they've already skated like 3 strides, and they're already past it. Well, play's still right there because they don't have the puck, and now you got that stick there. Yeah. So if that stick is stuck in the board, sticking out like a spike, got to stop the board. You got to stop the play.
Yep.
All
That's
right?
a good point. It's good stuff.
Got to stop the play. So next thing, Scott, how do you deal with broken glass?
Well, broken glass is going to be a problem. It's a pain. I've had it happen a number of times. You need to shut down play immediately, get everybody away from the area, clear the area as fast as you can, get everybody to their benches. And now you've got a couple things that you got to be concerned with. You got to find somebody from the rink.
The rink, yep.
You have to find out if they have a replacement for that, whether it be glass or whether it be a sheet of plywood. And now they've got to come out with a shovel and a bucket and pick up as much as they can, and then they're going to have to bring the Zamboni back out. So, you're probably going to be there a minimum 20 minutes. I'm going to say it's more of an hour. I know they think it's 20 minutes,
gracious, but 20 minutes.
It's an hour to clean that up. So
it's an hour.
I guess the bigger question at that point, and we've stayed, especially because a lot of times it happens at a men's league game. There's nobody on the ice afterwards. Everybody's there. They want to stay and play. So you end up being there. It's a long night. But, if you had another game going on afterwards, we've gotten it done in 30-ish, 40-ish minutes and continue to play, but you're backing everybody up. So it's almost a rink call, too, at that point.
That's not our call at all.
Do we can it at that point and move on? Because they've got other teams coming in, and that's something you've got to work out with the management there and figure out what they want to do.
And that's not our call at all. It's not our ice. You are there for the assignment. You complete your assignment, and then if you're going to another assignment, we're sorry that you're running late. You text your partner the second you get off the
call somebody.
Ice.
Yep.
Call the assigners. Call God if you have to. Let them know. But you finish your assignment. If they're going to continue playing, you finish the assignment you're on, and then you go to the next one.
Right.
So just remember that. And
it's the same if you have a Zamboni breakdown, guys. The Zamboni breaks down, you got to find out, how long is this going to be? Because, sometimes it's only a 10-minute breakdown. Sometimes they're going to have to basically crane that thing off the ice, depending on what happens. I've seen it. I've seen the brake line. I don't know if it's a brake line or one of the fluid lines break where it just sprayed everything all over the ice and they couldn't get the thing to go.
On an Olympia? Or is it? It's on an Olympia. I could bet you money.
An Olympia?
I can bet you money it is. So was it the red hydraulic fluid?
Yeah, it's like red hydraulics.
So in the Olympia, they make a standard hydraulic block, and they have all these plugs that are on the inside and hoses and stuff that come out. Because I've seen this quite a few times, and one of the guys that fixes them was telling me, oh, yeah, it happens quite often. One of those plugs will loosen up, if they haven't been and then boom, and that's dead. Yeah. It's a dead fish in the water. Like, it's stuck there. So, but during these stoppages, though, like let's say glass breaks or the Zam breaks, talk to your partner once everything is calm, which pretty much when something like this happens, everybody's calm anyways.
Yeah.
Get off the ice, grab your phone, start contacting whoever you need to. With the glass, though, Scott, if you're at a rink that has multiple sheets and they don't have something going on, the rink
you
may
could possibly moving over to another rink.
Yeah, you could change. The other thing is with that, let's say you're working a game that has intermissions, time in between periods, and they're going to come out and Zamboni the ice anyways. Let's say they're going to do it after the second period, and you got 5.5 minutes left in the second period. Well, you're going to have to do the ice anyways. Yep. So go over to the benches and go, look, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the locker room, let this get cleaned up. We'll come back out here. We'll resume play for the last, 5 minutes or whatever it is in the second period. Then we'll have an intermission, a minute intermission like we normally would with the period. And then we'll play the third period.
Yep.
Most coaches are totally reasonable with that because not only that, you're going to have this intermission. Then you're going to play 5 minutes. Then you're going to have another intermission. You might as well just get it all done at once.
And not only that, a lot of times these coaches have another game to go to as well. We're not the only ones that are running from rink to rink. Coaches run from rink to rink too. A lot of them have multiple teams, and they've got to be somewhere as well. So, they want to do some of this stuff just as efficiently as everybody else.
Yeah, so with the glass, because it's the same type of situation, if you have somebody that gets injured quite severely, and it does happen, when somebody does get injured and there's a good amount of blood on the boards or on the ice, we all know we have to get that cleaned up.
It's be decontaminated.
I would hope we all know that we have to get that cleaned up. But
even if they have it on their jersey, guys, you got to get them decontaminated. They've got to get their cut covered, whether they have a bloody nose or whatever. They got to get something stuffed in there. They've got to get the jersey cleaned. Or switch jersey, whatever the case may be. But, they cannot return to play until that's taken care of. It's a safety issue.
Yep. So, but just same thing, though. If you got to get that cleaned up and you have an intermission, no problem. Move everybody in the locker room. Keep going. What else do we have, Scott? Oh, all right. Here's a good one for, I think, every referee's run along. The board advertisements.
Oh, yeah.
The stickers. They're like 4 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet. And, the edge is coming off and they're starting to peel real bad and they're falling apart, right? You can't take off the entire advertisement. I saw somebody once rip, if the rink wants to come out and do it, that's fine. If it's really something where it's becoming dangerous and stuff is falling off all the time, if somebody happens to have a pocket knife on them, cut the little section off. I'm serious, Scott. You don't have to get the rink involved at that point, but don't damage the whole thing. Don't sit there and pull the whole thing down. You could cut down a little corner that's creating
usually what I've seen mostly lately is pieces about this big.
Yeah,
kind of.
There's not much
on
you
the
can
ice.
do.
There might be 4 or 5 of them during the game that you and they're really thin. I mean, can you skate over them? I suppose you could, but it's better if you can pick them up when you see them.
Yeah, pick them up. I mean,
or scoot them over. At least get them up against the boards if you can. Like get them out of play as much as possible while play is going on.
Well, it's unfortunate that they do fall apart that way. And that's just age. But we deal with a lot of things. If there was change falling out of a player, you're going to pick it up. You're not going to throw the player off the ice. You're just going to keep dealing with the situation, which is an unfortunate
you're increasing your pay.
It is.
You just went up another. You got another 2 cents in value.
Turn that into the scorekeeper.
If you're in a rich suburb, maybe it was a quarter.
Yeah. Speaking of that, speaking of players doing odd things and change, have you ever seen a player that is in the 16 to 18-year-old category whip out a cell phone from their hockey breezers on the bench and start texting? Has anybody else seen this?
No, I have not seen that. I'm sorry. That one I have not seen.
So I've seen it where players are out on the ice and they get off, and I've been like by the bench, either, like lining or whatever, because we're doing games. And I saw a player reach into their breezers through the front where the athletic supporter would be.
Oh,
pulled out his cell phone.
That's a safe sport violation.
Starts shooting texts. Takes it, and he looks up, and he takes his phone, puts it back in, and then they change lines, and he jumps right back out there. I couldn't believe it.
Got to tweet the stats, baby. Got to tweet the stats.
I had never seen it before in my life. I saw it for the first time last year.
Was this a high school game?
It was a high-level game.
High level game. Higher level.
It was definitely with the players were big enough that cell phone, if it got hit, doesn't stand a chance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was definitely a higher level high school game, And they're moving. These boys are going up and down the ice and making hits. I just couldn't believe he had his cell phone. The next thing is, I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe that's all he had for protection, Brad. Maybe he forgot one of his components that.
It's possible. I had just never seen it. I was so shocked by it. Like, then, of course, the next stoppage comes up, and I skate over to whoever I was working with. I'm like, dude, you're never going to believe this. What? I go, this player just whipped out their cell phone. He's like, yeah, they leave it on the water bottle area. I go, no, I'm telling you. They pulled it out of their equipment and put it back in. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like stunned by it. I had never seen it before. I know there's some referees that put them in their pocket when they skate.
Yeah.
I get it. You don't want your phone damaged.
I'll be honest. I would love to have my cell phone out with me, not on the ice, but, like in the penalty box. But I know I'm going to forget it. And, you're going to walk out of a men's league game. The rink's going to be closed. Now you got to drive an hour back each way to get your phone. I mean, that's why I just don't want to do it. It's just not worth it. As much as I'd like to have it with me.
So it doesn't get stolen. I don't care. Like, I'm not missing anything important. Trust me, in an hour.
First of all, don't bring anything valuable into a hockey rink, okay? That's lesson number one.
That's common sense.
Lesson number one. Don't ever do that, okay? Lock it up in your trunk or whatever you got to do, but don't bring it into a hockey rink. That's all I can say. All right, let's Michael has a couple comments here, so let's start at the top here. Michael says, Peoria College game, the door is behind the net. During warm-ups, players did not close the door. We're shooting puck in general vicinity of the net door, and a woman off the ice got hit with a shot. Yeah.
It happens.
Well, there's a rink on the north side, far north side, that has a door back by the net, and the officials have to enter through that. So if you happen, like you're doing multiple games and you don't quite get out there fast enough, it's very possible you won't be able to get on the ice from that door because the players are shooting. You got to get everybody to stop or you will get killed. So it does happen. And he says a lawsuit followed. Just another example of what can happen with open doors. Yeah, absolutely. Eric says CS playoffs last year, West Dundee.
Talking about door opening.
Trying to think, I think their doors open from the side, if I recall. I don't recall us entering like on the front, but yeah, anytime that door is open. And Michael also says, I had 2 coaches agree to run the clock during the glass repair. Didn't even consult the refs. Just told the timekeeper to keep it rolling.
That's their ice.
Do what you want, right? Mm-hmm. We can't do that. Ice. We can't tell them to run the clock. Nope. But, that's strictly up to the rink. And if the coaches agree, they're the ones that are ultimately making those decisions. So, I'd say just live with it. And let's see. Eric says, talking about broken glads. Yeah, broken glads. Yeah, broken glads.
Say, everybody has a miss day. They misspeak.
No, that's how he talks. Broken glass. You got broken glass.
Let's keep moving. What do you do if you have a big chunk of the ice come out and it goes down to the concrete? And we're talking a substantial chunk.
I'm going to talk about that because I had that happen at a midget game.
I've had it happen multiple times.
We were there for like another hour, okay? Because we had to do ice maintenance. We ended up bringing the Zam back out twice after we packed that thing up with slush and worked on it. And, we took out, the guy had left the nets up on the side for like 3 hours in a warm rink. And when the net came down, we took 4 chunks like this out of there, okay? Some were a little bit smaller, but basically 4 of these. It wasn't safe. We would have gotten killed out there had we skated. And it's right in our lane, which is even worse. And, this is something I'm very passionate about, and I express to a lot of people, guys, especially the referees, because, putting that net up properly at the end of a game, you got to give it. We're going to do a video, the proper way to do this, because you need to bounce the thing so you don't have snow that builds up and then it drips down. Because what happens if you don't, we end up with almost like a post. It's like a hockey puck is frozen there that you can't see. An invisible hockey puck is basically left behind, and you're going to skate forwards or backwards across that and hit that thing, and you're going to go down. So, after you pick up those nets, and even once you're finished and you're going to set the net, go back and scrape with your skate. Take the bump off the ice for safety.
Yep.
For your partner. Protect your partner. Maybe it doesn't bother you, but guess what? Save your partner. Protect him. Scrape that ice a little bit. Take anything that's sticking up off the ice. It's very important.
Scott, the importance was that you said that you worked on the ice, and let's say you do have a situation where it's like this, try to rectify it. It's going to take some time. Work with the rink. If you can't find a solution that makes the game safe, grab both coaches, have them come out there, make sure the players aren't shooting. Let's use some common sense here.
Yeah, let's get the players on the bench and bring the coaches out in that situation, because if you are going to do maintenance, you're going to have to get the players off the ice anyway. So you might as well just get them off the ice, and it just gives you a little more control of the situation. It just puts everybody in perspective here that we got something we need to deal with.
Well, get them to their benches at least.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to take them all off the ice.
Yeah,
but just bring them both out there and explain the safety aspect of it. Most I haven't ever heard a coach ever. Luckily, I've only had to do this maybe once or twice in all the games that I've officiated where we couldn't get it fixed. And both coaches, from both games or 3 games or whatever it is, they agreed. They're like, no, we're not going to play on this. We'll have to reschedule. So
yeah, we had one that I think it was a high school game, varsity game. We got through the first 2 periods, no problem. Something happened with the Zamboni that they cut the ice too deep. Somehow the blade must have wedged, took a big hunk out. The game wasn't a close game. The coaches were like, we're done. That's all. No big deal. Game over. That's all. Because it was going to take at least an hour plus to fix the ice probably.
Again,
doesn't mean anything. So it's up to the coaches. Do what you want to do in this situation. Great.
Yep. But if you do have a situation, though, where you do have to stop play while a game is in progress, okay, and you have a score sheet and everything already, make sure and write down game suspended
and the
on
time,
the score sheet.
And the time so they know where to pick up from.
And the time so that they know where to pick up from. Make sure the score is all crossed out. Make sure that it's very obvious that the game was suspended, so that if they need to pick up that game and finish it at a later time, well, they'll do that. And I would highly suggest, if you don't have your phone out on the scorekeeper bench, take a picture of it, and then in your local area, whatever your protocol is, file with whoever you need to that game was suspended.
Yeah,
so that there's a record of it.
It's an incident report. You got to do a game report on that one for sure.
Yep. So just so you know.
Would that be a game report or is that an incident report? That would be an incident report, I guess. Yeah.
That's an incident report.
Incident report.
So,
yeah.
But you're not reporting any thing that happened in the game.
Yeah, you're just letting them know
incident.
so that if something comes up, everybody's aware. Better everybody knows than it's a surprise, They don't like surprises. Like this, go Cubs, go. All right, well, I'm all for that. I can live with that, right?
We're going to the White Sox game later. That's why he's doing this.
Okay. All right, cool. Eric said had something like that happen before, but someone didn't clear the snow, and it sat there for 2 hours, took 45 minutes to fix it. Yeah, sometimes you have to actually go get the Zam driver either to come back out on the ice, which I've had to do, or you go get the scraper sometimes from them, and a lot of times you could just kind of fix that way, but I recently had one a couple weeks back, and I had to have the Zam driver come back out. It's like, no, this thing is just a mess. It's just not worth it. It adds 5 minutes, but it is what it is. All right, here's the scheduler. Let's see what he says. If it's a rink problem and you have to stick around, always let Wags know, and we'll add a couple bucks to the invoice for each official, anything over 15 minutes. Wow, I never knew that, Wags. I will send you an invoice now. Can I backdate that? Can I go back like for the last 7 or 8 years for all the times we've stayed late? That's good to know. But, it's just, again, communicate with people. I think everybody is pretty reasonable when it comes to this. But, I've had many nights where I've been there an hour plus. So Max says, what do you put on the score sheet if the ice surface is unfit to play and you have to reschedule? Well, that's going to be an incident report, Max, because you're going to have to notify the authorities. The authorities will need to know.
Again, write down game suspended, the time, the period, the score, and if you have any penalties left too, you might want to write that down because they're going to look at the score sheet. But they have to restart
it looks
with
like
that penalty.
the game might not have even started. He says, "What do you put on it if the ice surface is unfit to play and you have to reschedule?" That means that could be you're outside at a outdoor rink. And it's sunny and it's slushy.
Hang on, Scott.
Yeah.
Let's cover all your bases as an official. Did you get on the ice and is there a score sheet that's been filled out and you go out for warm-ups?
Of course.
And you get on the ice, you're still going to write on there, game suspended. It's even though it's the first period, I'm just saying, Scott, because you got to make sure that you follow the proper protocol because it may come down to something where they go, well, we're not going to let you guys replay this because of this. So if our paperwork isn't proper, we can mess a lot of things up. So our paperwork needs to be proper.
You might even have to cross the boxes out because, you could have been suspended and you find it's a 5-1 game going 2 minutes into the first period, right?
Yep. You got to cross all that out so that none of that can be changed. So our paperwork really goes a long way. So just so everybody knows. So
I guess that's good to know. I don't think I would have just probably done an incident report if the game had never started. But okay.
I would cross it out.
And if you guys don't have a good scanner program on your app on your phone, get one.
Scanner
a program
picture nowadays.
Yeah, I know, but these just are really like you can blow it up, you can read everything.
PDF.
Turn it into a PDF. It's great.
PDF.
Yep. Convert to PDF.
Exactly. So, anyways, I had one, but you kept going. So.
Oh, I have that ability. You know that, Brad. I've had Diet Coke.
Yeah.
What did you want to talk about? Debris on the boards before we start from the figure skaters or a public session that took place before and they left soft drink there on the boards or, Kleenex or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, get that stuff off. Go look for their skate guards because that's quite often a culprit that's left out there, which I don't understand ever because you could have left them wherever you put your skates on, but it is what it is. But yeah, make sure that there's nothing out there and, like we said, check all the doors.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's been an hour already, Scott.
Oh my God!
Did you realize
time goes so fast. Yeah, real fast. Before we go, once again, let's do the.
Well, the other one is there's one more thing about nets, about goal frames. So if you're at a rink and the goal frame is broken, the metal part somehow, to where it's broken, that there is some sort of jagged edge or something along those lines, you got to get that net removed and get another one. Hopefully the rink has another one. Again, always on the side of safety. So just so you know.
What if you have a rink that's not well maintained, and maybe they have like a small piece of plexiglass next to the door, and that plexiglass pops out?
I know
and
what rink
it's
you're
not
talking
really
about.
repairable. Yeah, I mean, that's really not safe because somebody could go right through there and get caught. I mean,
Well, but it's one of those tough calls. Like, is it an injury potential? Is it not? I mean, you're going to have to go basis by basis. You know, if you have that piece that can't be replaced again, hey, it's not a full sheet, but we got this. Go to the coaches.
Yeah, I've had it,
really
men's
you.
league where it's almost down to the sand or the concrete behind the net. And I've had to inform both the teams that we are not going to be aggressive back there whatsoever in order to make it fair, because we didn't want to see somebody like go back there on a skate blade and end up, going down. Little stuff like that. So all things to take into consideration, guys. So again, next week we are going to be here at 6 o'clock. We appreciate your joining us every week. If you like the show and you'd like to help support the channel, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/refroom, and you could buy Brad or myself some caffeine. It's always greatly appreciated.
You don't need any more.
Yeah, I'm already
You're
caffeinated.
Good.
I told you we could switch that to beer or pizza, but we're trying to keep this PG.
There's a good question over there, Scott.
Oh, what do we got here? Let's see. Oh, Eric says iPhones, they have a scanner function. I think they do, but I still have an app. I got a couple apps.
I
for
have
scanner.
the app. I don't like the iPhone scanner function.
Yeah, I haven't used that. I like the apps better. Can a game be played with plywood in place of glass?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot more than you realize. We see a lot of times where there's a piece of plywood in there. Is it ideal? Not great, but it's enough to get the job done. You can get through the game with that. So, I'd still take a look at it maybe closely to make sure there's nothing dangerous to it, nothing sticking out or whatever. But yeah, we used to play with True Link fence when I was growing up, okay? A lot of guys came home with some nice little,
Well, I can imagine.
nice little tokens of appreciation on their face after those games.
There's a referee that tells a good story about, junior hockey and minor pro hockey. He's a legend around here, and he said the first time that he went to go line, it was at some building, I forget where, it was chain link fence. And there was this little old lady, and she would sit at the blue line, right on the boards, right? She's first row. And every time there was a linesman that had to wave in front of her, right? You put your arms on, she would poke him in the back with a needle.
Well, then he's too close to the boards, okay? Tell him to get off the boards.
I'm just telling you.
Stop flat backing.
I'm just telling you. So that's an interesting little story there. So
yeah.
All
Karen
right,
says we should do buy me a whistle. Well, whistles are a lot more expensive, Karen. That's like a $13 to $20 purchase there. So, coffee's like $4. We try to keep it affordable for the referees. Reason. Yeah, exactly. All right. So again, next week, 6 o'clock here. Please join us. We'll send them reminders out. You can watch it on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. The replays are always up there. One more time, let me see if I can find the golf
outing
back up. Yeah, I'm looking for the golf outing. No, I can't. Where did it go? Now it's not on there. Unbelievable. Let me see if I can find it on here. I don't know. Sometimes stuff changes on here. It's just the way it works. It is what it is.
And I'm going to try and throw that in there.
Well, go ahead and talk about the golf outing. I'll see what I can find here.
Well, it's $55, and $45 of it goes to the golf club that we're having at, and the other $10 is going to cover some expenses that we may have incurred. We're kind of getting some gifts and doing some things. Anything left over is going to puck cancer. So it's a good cause on top of it. So, come on out. We need 60 golfers for it to run. So that's the big thing that we're going here right now. And $55 for a golf outing is absolutely phenomenal. So,
honestly, it disappeared. I swear, it was in my stream deck. Now it's not there. It's so weird because I played it earlier. It's like we had it up, right? We had the graphic up. So
that's okay.
So give them the date, July 23rd. It's a Friday. Right. It starts at 8 o'clock. It's an 8 o'clock shotgun start, so you can get there early and hit some balls or, practice your putting.
Whatever you
Drive
need
for
to do.
show, putt for dough, whatever you need to do. Just get there early. It's going to be a great day. We'll have a lot of fun.
I just put the Google form in there.
Okay, nice.
That, it'll be in the comments. That's
Michael says, Happy Gilmore, the greatest golfer to ever play the game. Yep. I like Judge Smales personally. He was more my favorite, okay? Judge Smales was one of the great golfers of all time.
Don't sell yourself short. You're an incredible slouch.
Exactly. Hey, that hat looks good. Yeah, but the hat looks good on you.
Yeah, that looks like something that if you bought it, you get a free bowl of soup with. But
Exactly.
It looks good on you,
It looks good on you. And you'll get nothing and you'll like it. The greatest line of any movie, okay? All right. That's it, guys. We are the Ref Room.
Join Scott Smokin, Silz and Brad Baumruck every Wednesday for Ref Room.
It's hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Join in the fun every Wednesday at noon. You can check out the replays on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. That's the Ref Room every Wednesday with Scott and Brad. Two guys that love to talk hockey.
Yes, we do. And with that, you guys have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday at a special time, 6 p.m.